Just imagine the US treating Bitcoin the same way it treats gold, storing it in reserves as a national asset rather than setting it off. That's exactly what President Donald Trump has proposed with the US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, a move that could redefine the country's financial strategy and its relationship with digital assets. In a surprising shift in the US financial policy, President Donald Trump is going into the creation of a US strategical Bitcoin reserve, a move that could reshape how the government interacts with its digital assets. This policy would involve the federal government holding Bitcoin as a national asset rather than setting up the cryptocurrency it has confiscated in legal cases. This idea is both ambitious and controversial, I'm pretty sure, as you know it, raising question about its potential benefit and the risk. But first of all, what is a Bitcoin reserve? Well, to understand the move, it's important to first break down what a Bitcoin reserve is. Traditionally, government stores valuable assets like gold to back their financial systems. The US, for example, holds large amount of gold in places like Fort Knox. I'm pretty sure you have already heard of it, using it as an hedge against inflation and economic instability. If Trump's plan moves forward, Bitcoin could be treated similarly, with the government accumulating and holding into it instead of immediately liquidating seized cryptocurrency. For comparison, imagine you found a valuable coin collection. Instead of selling it right now, you decided to keep it because its value might increase over time. Trump's idea applies to the same concept to Bitcoin. Rather than setting up the government crypto holdings, the US will store it, just like I said. But why would the US want a Bitcoin reserve? Well, there's several potential benefits to this plan that would make it pretty attractive to those who believe in Bitcoin long-term value, of course. First and foremost, is one of the biggest arguments for holding Bitcoin is that it acts as an edge against inflation. Traditional money like the US dollar loses value over time due to inflation, especially when the government prints more of it. Bitcoin, however, has a fixed supply of millions of coins, meaning it cannot be inflated like traditional currency though. If inflation gets out of control, Bitcoin reserves could serve as a backup asset that regained or retained value, should I say. Second, if the US government holds a large amount of Bitcoin, it could give the country a financial advantage. As the world moves towards digital assets and blockchain technology, the US could establish itself as a leader in the global crypto economy. Other countries, including China and El Salvador, have already taken steps to integrate Bitcoin into their financial system. By holding reserves, the US could position itself into a dominant force in the crypto space. Also, a government-backed Bitcoin reserve would likely increase confidence into cryptocurrency markets, encouraging more businesses, investors, and startups to enter the crypto industry. If the US legitimized Bitcoin as an official reserve asset, it could lead to more widespread adoption and regulatory clarity that benefits the industry as a whole. There's a risk though. Like we all know, while this plan has potential advantage, like we just talked about, it also comes with serious risk that cannot be ignored. One of Bitcoin's most well-known threats is its extreme price fluctuation. Unlike gold, which has a relatively stable value, Bitcoin can experience massive price swings in short periods. If the US holds billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin and its price suddenly drops, taxpayers could end up losing huge amount of money. For example, Bitcoin has previously crashed from 69,000 to 16,000 in less than a year. If something similar happened while the US was holding billions in Bitcoins, it could be a financial disaster. But Bitcoin exists in a legal gray area in many ways, like we know. Is it a currency, a commodity, a security? If the US government starts stockpiling Bitcoin, it could create confusion about how crypto should be regulated. Would Bitcoin and the reserve be treated as part of the financial system? Would it be taxed differently? Could the government manipulate the Bitcoin market? These questions would need to be addressed before such a policy could be fully implemented. If the US began accumulating Bitcoin as a reserve asset, other countries may follow suit, leading to a global arms race in digital assets. This could introduce new risks, including economic tension between nations competing for control over Bitcoin supplies, for example. If the US holds a massive amount of Bitcoin, foreign government might be wary of using the cryptocurrency, fearing that the US could manipulate its price or influence its network, for example. So, is it a good or a bad idea? The answer depends on how Bitcoin evolves in the coming years. Of course, if we had a crystal ball, we would know right away. If the price skyrocket, it would be a good thing. If the price goes way down, maybe it wouldn't be such a good way though. There is also a moral part of it. Some people does not want to use those cryptocurrency because it can be used with the black market, for example. But like real cash is used for it too. So I'm not sure about this one. If Bitcoin continues to gain value and acceptance, though, having a strategic reserve could be an incredibly valuable asset for the US. Much like our gold reserve have supported financial stability. On the other hand, if Bitcoin's volatility and regulatory challenges become overwhelming, holding a large amount of it could be a risky and costly mistake. You're gonna try and be a little bit optimistic though. Supporters of the plan believe that Bitcoin is the future of finance and that having a reserve would make the US a global leader and digital currency option. If Bitcoin continues to grow in value, this strategy could make the US one of the wealthiest Bitcoin holders, providing financial security for future generations. We can also try to be a little bit more skeptical. Critics argue that Bitcoin is too unpredictable to be a national reserve asset. The US government could end up losing billions of dollars, like I said, if the price of Bitcoin crashes, and managing a Bitcoin reserve would create complex legal and economic challenges. Some also worry that government involvement in Bitcoin could also go against the very principle of decentralization that make crypto attractive in the first place, which is a big point. At the start, people wanted a cryptocurrency so they wouldn't need government and it could be global. And right now, if all the governments start buying it and the majority of the reserves go to this country, it's not going to be the same decentralized cryptocurrency as it is right now. So that's a point we're going to have to be careful for in the future. But yeah, Trump's idea of the US strategic Bitcoin reserve is a bold, high risk, high reward move though. It could establish the US as a leader in the future of digital finance, but it also exposes the country to significant risk tied to Bitcoin's volatility and uncertain regulation. Whether this plan would be a brilliant financial strategy or a costly gamble remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, if it happens, it will be one of the most significant developments in the history of cryptocurrency and national finance for sure. Thank you for watching.